Okay, so I've got 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 1900. Those on the 24-hour and/or military clock. Excuse me, I needed a drink there. Iced tea, I assure you, not anything alcoholic. But if you want to imbibe while we do this, that's fine. So 1901, it's 3rd of September 2024. My name is Russ Jamison. I'm the Adjunct Professor for University of Mount Olive Leadership 300 fall session, first online. So tonight, you should see my screen. This is our text, Leadership Experience by Richard Daff, 8th edition, publisher Cengage. By now, everybody should have their text and or have alerted me to what the issue is, and we have worked a plan. If we haven't done that, then you need to let me know as soon as possible. Otherwise, I don't want you trying to do half the assignments without the text. That's just bad form and it's not going to go well for you, I'm afraid. So make sure you do your reading. Make sure you use the text. I want you to do that even for the discussion forum. The first week was you would have been able to answer the questions without the text, although that's some of what I'm looking for. I don't want you regurgitating the text in all your answers. I want to see mostly you, but I want you to use the text to demonstrate that you read it and have understood the material, and also to use what's in the text to help support your example, your conclusion, if you will, the evidence. And so remember, the fundamental relationship, the one that matters the most, is your conclusion and the evidence you use to support that. So I want you to bring in the principles, the theories, the models, the concepts that you've learned in the text and bring that into your argument. Again, don't regurgitate the text. I want to see what you have to say. You use it as part as to buttress your argument. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get into this. Kandis, I see you joining us. Thank you. Welcome aboard. I'm going to go through a couple things first, and then I'll answer any questions, concerns, or take any comments you have, if that's okay. All right. So the leadership experience. I recommend that you get this text and read, highlight it, notate it, as I put on the Moodle page. Hold on to it. You're going to find this will help you in follow-on leadership courses if you take them at the University of Mount Olive, or courses that you'll take anywhere. Hold on to it in your next occupation or your next billet. You're going to use it. You're going to refer to it. You're going to go back and learn from it. Remember, you stop leading when you stop learning. And there's good things in this text that is very useful. And then as you go through these leadership practices, the know yourselves, if you will, the self-evaluation exercises, I'm only having you do required to do a couple of week or a couple of session. A couple of week. Please feel free to do them all. They're all very valuable and they're useful. And I recommend, as leaders, you use these with your subordinates, those that you will be leading, as a method to get to know them and have them learn themselves. Remember the idiom, a rising tide lifts all boats. And so the more that we can teach and demonstrate leadership, even to subordinates, followers, if you will, the better everybody will be and the more dynamic your organization, I think. All right. So the leadership experience is our text. We are in week 2. Just go ahead and talk through a little bit of week 1. a pretty decent effort, I thought, on everybody's part, those that turned in their assignments. And I encourage you to continue. You'll note that in each week, each is designated as a module. Starts with an overview, the objectives, and a to-do list. Week one, you had a couple questions to ask, and then the Know Yourself exercise is 1.3, 2.2. I provided feedback, and I will on anything you turn in. The first and foremost piece of feedback that you'll get from me that you'll probably find most useful is the actual grade. We're doing something a little unusual in this particular course. We haven't done it before. We're on a 1010 point scale. So remember, look at how much total points that item is worth, and then divide that by the total point, or by the point. Well, let me do that backwards. Sorry. Take the score that you get, the number of points you earn, divide that by the total points possible for that particular item, and that'll render you your essential grade, if you will, on a 100% scale. In this particular case, the scale that's in the syllabus is on 1010, so you got to go in there and take a look so that you can best determine how you're tracking along. Believe me, if you're not doing well, and what I define not doing well is anything lower than a C, I will certainly talk to you about it. And the only way you'll fail this course, just so you're aware, is if you do not turn in any assignments. I can't grade something that I don't see. Okay, that's the only way you'll fail. In that regard. Now, that's presuming, of course, no integrity violation and some other things. Okay. Anyway, so the two questions that you had for late week one, what is the difference between the terms management and leadership? I think most of you provided an in-depth response and backed it up, which I like. Some of you did not, and I would have asked you to add some depth. Okay. Remember, we look at management and leadership as sharing many of the same functions. There is a difference between the two, but it's in how we approach it. We tend to view management as a bottom line focus, that which brings order to the organization and consistency. Whereas leadership, the realm of the leader is in establishing that vision, instituting that change, and getting the effect and influence on followers that we're after. So as the graphic would have showed you in the feedback, a solid organization, one that has good management and good leadership. An organization that has good management but poor leadership will reliably do the wrong things, and eventually will be out of business. Think Blockbuster. Blockbuster was very well managed and used to be on almost every street corner as a video rental concern. And they just couldn't keep up with the streaming and the times, and eventually they're pretty much out of business. I think there's still a couple stores may still be around. Conversely, if we look at an organization that has poor management but great leadership, then there's going to be inconsistent performance. Okay, you may have a very good football coach, but if the team is not executing on the field, then you're going to take a look at some of your management issues. All right. Second question, why is leadership considered both art and a science? I think some of you used great illustration in that, as in teaching someone to paint within the framework of science of painting, understanding mixture of colors, mediums, use of canvas versus other type of backings, and then how to apply brush strokes and some of the aspects of mixing colors. Your art is, of course, what you bring in your own way. And some of that cannot be taught. It's got to be what is from within. So we take a look at leadership much the same way. The science is understanding the models, the traits, the dynamics, the theories that have been developed over a course of years, and these have been improved. And certainly, there's been a marked sea change in the science of leadership in the last century, and then to this one, to the degree that we're now talking about something called uh, contingent leadership. In other words, depending on the situation, what works for you in one situation may not in another. What works for one person and their trait or in how they apply leadership may not be appropriate for another. Think of the leadership of a drill instructor or drill sergeant, depending on how you went to boot camp, in handling recruits is going to be a different form of leadership in many ways than what you would expect that staff non-commissioned officer to execute um, within the framework of NCOs or other fellow staff NCOs on the job site. Okay, so everybody did pretty good. Meet your timelines, right? We want that initial post on Wednesdays, and then certainly comment on two others within a few days of that. If you want to do it all in one night, that's perfectly fine if you can. But just make sure you get a minimum of two. Don't limit yourselves to the minimum, but at least a minimum. Otherwise, you may have noticed you didn't get quite as many points on participation that you thought. And then we go from there. There was the leadership self insights. Again, generally a good idea, good job. Again, there's a few things that I'm going to highlight for you. Make sure you do both or all the insights assigned. I think there may be one week when there are three assigned. If you didn't do all of them, you may have lost some points. Summarize the results of the exercise. I don't need you to show me your work, okay? In other words, I don't need to see all the answers to every question. I know what the exercise asks, and I'll trust you on that. I just need you to tell me the exercise you did, what it was after, and then summarize your results. And then I want you to discuss that exercise and apply information or concepts presented in the text. In other words, give me a little bit of the text in your answer as you start to discuss it. Because from there, I want you to do some personal reflection. Information and concepts presented in the chapter and the results of the exercise. How will that enhance your ability to lead? And then how will it create value in your career? Okay. That's two different questions. And that piece of career, I'll leave to you. So let me just mention these exercises get a little tough sometimes because you're trying to find the framework upon which you're making your answer. And that is, are you doing it from perhaps the occupation you have now, or do you do it from a framework of what you anticipate doing? Okay, and that's up to you. I don't really have a good answer for you as to which one to use because I think it again depends on you. But I ask for you to try to get some consistency in your results. When I say career, that could be anything. That could be an occupation. That could be your time serving the church. That could be your effort as a parent. That's or managing a household. Whether you're serving on active duty in the military or within the National Guard, or if you are working at a local um, business concern, or whether you're running your own farm. Okay, these are all frameworks and environments that you can use. The key is just try to do the best you can and try to apply some consistency. If there's some more issues, if you're having some real problems with it, don't be afraid first to disagree with the results if you think they aren't quite accurate. But make sure you tell me why. Okay, give me what I call the so what in any regard in your answers. Okay, so this exercise gave you a result. So what? In other words, tell me about it, talk to me about it, and give it to me from the framework of yourself. Okay, provided you some feedback on that. If you scored certainly an A, then I don't have much more to give you. Okay, that's not to say I can't give you some feedback, but you're doing fine. Okay, if you scored less than that and you have a specific question, then you could certainly let me know. And if it repeats, I will bring it to your attention. Again, I want you to write with brevity. Okay, you don't have to wax eloquently with me, but I want you to provide some depth. Okay, provide some simple justification, the evidence I was talking about earlier, and then conclude your response in a logical, organized manner. All right, and then I want to mention to you, okay, all these leadership self-insight exercises that you do are going to form a basis for your final paper. I'll talk the final paper here in just a few minutes. But this is leading you to something. So it's important that you do these exercises and take the time, okay, because you're going to refer back to them here in the near future. Okay, and those are due by Saturday evening. All right, in all cases, 23:59. I don't say midnight anymore because we had some confusion in that a few classes ago, and so I reverted to 11:59 p.m. or 23:59 on the 24-hour clock. So there is no confusion. I would say midnight Saturday, and some people would ask if that was midnight Friday or midnight Saturday. And anyway, so if there's an issue in meeting the timeline, if you know there's something that's going to rise that's going to cause a problem, then certainly contact me and let me know. And then we had the week quiz. Again, you're given 45 minutes, one shot. Everybody seemed to do pretty good. I think a couple of you ran out of time. That's going to happen. Nobody made the critical error of trying to do it within 10 minutes of the 3 p.m. or 1500 timeline on Sunday, which happens. That quiz will close at 3 p.m. Even if you're 10 minutes into it, it won't give you the full 45. It's going to close. So make sure you give yourself some time and give yourself some buffer. Don't wait until the last minute if you can avoid it. Again, if there's an issue, if there's a glitch, then certainly let me know and we'll talk it out. Ultimately, you can use the text, you can use your exercises, the PowerPoint presentations that are provided in every module. If you look down, or I guess I have it above. Where do I have it? Oh, here, yeah. Above the assessments piece, you'll see instructional materials resources. This is week 1. So you can see chapters 1 and 2 PowerPoint presentations are provided to you. You're welcome to use those. You're welcome to use whatever required reading that has been assigned by me as you take the quiz. The only thing I will ask you not to do is to collaborate with other students. I want you to use you, okay? Make sure you take it in a situation where you're not going to be interrupted because you get one shot at it. All right, so as we go into week 2, let me pull it up here. This is going to cover module 2. Again, overview, objectives, the to-do list. You're going to read chapters 3 and 4, where you're going to learn more about the contingency approach to leadership. You're going to answer a question or two of them. Again, I'll ask you, what does contingency mean? And I ask you something out of chapter 4, the big 5. Okay. There's a know yourself exercise that is not part of the requirement that I give you in your weekly assignment, but it's there. And I want you to pull that thing apart a little bit, if you will. Again, post by Wednesday night, comment on 2 other students' responses no later than Friday night. All right, the leadership know yourself exercises is 3.3 and 4.4. Same manner and same drill that I gave you earlier. And then, of course, the quiz, you'll find the same, a mix of true, false, and best answer. Remember, I don't say multiple guess, I say best answer. I don't try to trick you on the quizzes. I try to keep it a very straightforward question, pretty common English. I'm not trying to trick you into something, so don't read too much into the question. Read it and then select what you think is the best answer. Okay. Shouldn't be any issues. I think most everybody did pretty well on the quiz. I don't think anybody failed. All right, let me go to Kandis and see if you've got anything that you want to bring up before I talk about the final paper briefly. Candace, Miss Bob, do you have anything for us? Okay. All right. I will take silence as consent, or you need to make sure you unmute your mic if you want to say something. Okay. I don't know what happened to my screen here, but uh, that's interesting. I don't know where that came from. All right. So let me talk final paper here. Final paper is due week 7. You'll find in week 7 that there's assignments for that week, and then for the following point 4, because remember, we're on a 7.4 week program. But the paper is your leadership effectiveness paper, and it's designed to, oh, I see a chat here. Okay, thank you, Candace. Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Uh, sorry, your iPad is weird. Uh, Believe me, I understand glitches. I had them last week with Zoom. It wouldn't let me start the session.
Yes, sorry about that. It would
Oh,
not let me hit the unmute button to save my life. But I have no questions, sir. Sorry.
okay. Well, it let you now, huh?
Yes, sir.
All right, buddy. Fine. Again, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put you on the spot there. Uh, okay. Well, let me talk the effectiveness paper and then go from there. By the way, Candace, you're doing a great job. I really enjoyed what you shared and what you wrote, and I look forward to what you do on the next few weeks. Keep it up. You're doing well.
Thank you, sir.
The So your final paper, and as we get close, I'll send you the grading rubric I'll use. But what this is it's not a research paper per se. Okay, it's going to be talking about you, and you're going to use, as I mentioned here, the information you gained from those know yourself exercises, identifying your strengths and weaknesses and your characteristics, and then identify those things that you want to work on or in the process for doing so. Okay. There are some basics that I need you to cover. First off, yes, we do grade on format, on spelling, on grammar use. I am not an English major, I'll tell you that up front, but you certainly need to spell check your paper. Use of spell check and Grammarly is okay. Use of AI or other uh, institutions out there to write the paper for you is not. I went to see what you have to say, and the setup is you need to do it yourself anyway, as I'll show you that after we do the format and the structure, there are a few things that you need to hit. They're sectioned out: leadership importance, leadership concepts, leadership plan, developing others. Okay, remember this is a leadership class. And if you look under each of those, you'll see I want you to explain or define or assess or ultimately identify some things. Okay, so read these carefully. And I suggest in your final paper, you use paragraph headers. If there's any question on format or paragraph headers, refer to your APA format, which is what University of Mount Olive uses. Excuse me. The Sorry, I had a little catch in my throat there. So we go through this, And if you use each of these as your paragraph header, slightly reworded, that does two things for you. It first helps organize your paper and allows you to ensure you don't miss anything. Because if you don't answer these all, if you fail to answer one or more, you're going to lose points, of course. And then also, it helps your reader to go through and understand what you're having to say, and your reader's not having to go hunt and search through your paper to find your answer to these items. And oh, by the way, your reader is also the one that's grading your paper. That's me. I will read your paper 3 times. I read all papers 3 times. The first to get a sense overall of the paper, plus looking at making sure that you've hit all the questions and generally how it flows. Second reading, I go much deeper and I look for errors, if there are any spelling, proofreading errors, grammar, word usage, using the right word, right? And then third reading is I take again an overall view of it. And after I've read everybody's paper, so I don't grade on a curve. However, I do make sure that I balance as best I can papers across the realm. Okay. And again, this paper is going to be due that Sunday of week 7. Bear with me here. There it is. Trying to highlight it on my screen now. But your paper will be due no later than 11:59 p.m., 23:59 on military clock on Sunday, 13 October. So we got time, but it's coming up. And as far as submitting early, yes, if that is a question for some, can you work ahead? You most certainly can. I'll caution you not to get too far ahead because remember you got a classroom of co-students, right? And I think it's best to try to maintain pace, if you will. But you know your schedule better than anybody. And I have it set up in Moodle. If you want to submit the paper tonight, you may certainly do so. I don't necessarily encourage it because, again, I want you to go through all the the exercises before you get to the paper. But you certainly could start working on it now if you so desire. The As far as the grading goes, you'll notice that your submission sometimes will require you to hit a submit button. It will upload your response as a draft, but you hit submit to submit it as a final. Now, you don't have to do that. The reason I do that is that when you upload it, it's as a draft, that gives you a chance to go back and edit or change your answer or add to the paper or ensure it's the right file, any number of things. If you fail to submit it by hitting the button, I will grade your draft in the same as your final submission after the suspense date, after the due date. Okay. So don't freak out or concern yourself if you uploaded your file, did not hit submit, and now Moodle is saying that the assignment is overdue. Okay, it's in there as a draft, and I will grade it, and there will not be any, of course, penalty because you got it in on time. But just to clarify, if there's any confusion on that, talk to me one-on-one, and we'll straighten it up. But I think it's pretty clear what happens. All right, so let's take a quick breather here for a second since I've been droning on and on. I'll go back to Kandis and test her on hitting her unmute button on her iPad and see if she's got anything for us.
I got the first try this time, but still no questions.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you for your sense of humor. I was picking on you there a little bit. Okay, so look, on this course, this is your time, right? This is getting to know you and having the time to do some reflection on what's the science out there in leadership, going through a few exercises in an evaluative manner, doing the soul searching, if you will. Oh, and it's as of that. I'm going to show you something real fast on the screen. Came across a file of something that was given to me a few years ago by a then Secretary of the Navy, and hopefully it's showing up on my screen. Timeless Traits of Leadership, out of chapter 27 out of the Book of Acts. Okay, Secretary of Navy Dalton at the time gave this to me. I'm sure he gave it to a lot of people, nothing me special. But I thought it was interesting as it laid out. The leader is trusted, initiative, judgment. You could read all those. How many are there? Maybe 11, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 or 11, right? Yeah, 10. And here I kind of provided the verses, but you'll find in this, you won't see the Book of Acts laying it out like this. It doesn't say a leader is trusted. A leader takes initiative in that actual print. It's telling you a story of Paul. And in the verses I give you, you'll see in the story how a leader is trusted or how a leader takes initiative. Okay. In other words, it's learning leadership by telling a story. And I think it's worth your time if you're interested. Okay. Not testable, nothing that you have to worry about for a quiz. and I'm okay, trying to get back to the course, but I just thought you might find it of interest. If anybody needs that, wants me to send it to them as an attachment, let me know, or I can put it in the attachment to the file that I'll post. I'll post a link to YouTube, and that will show up under Student Lounge, where you can review this session in video format at your leisure. If you look here, weekly office hour Zoom sessions, shared video files, you'll find. In fact, that's where I'll put. If you go in there, you'll see week 2. I'll put that PowerPoint slide in there as well. Okay. Well, these sessions are limited to about 40, 45 minutes at best. So I usually get a pop-up about now that says I'm going to lose everybody in less than 5 minutes or so. That's just for some reason the way University of Mount Olive has it set up, which is fine. It doesn't need to be an hour. Again, these are not mandatory sessions. These are purely designed to help you out, to ask any questions, to use it sort of like visiting me in the office, if you will. And it's an opportunity for me to, get to know you in case you want to dial in or, I don't know, can I say dial in? That seems a little bit old. I'm showing my age here. If you want to join, uh, obviously as a video virtual visit. The rest of the information in Moodle is good. There's a lot. I encourage you to go through it. Some of you are asking some questions or concerns that have been answered and are in the syllabus or otherwise. That's fine. I don't limit the questions that are asked, but I sometimes encourage you to find the information. I put them out in the Moodle page up, obviously, and then of course I want you to check this announcements section. Often you'll see that I put out assignment instructions and for that particular week, and from time to time I'll post some other things just to that I come across that I may think you will find of interest. All right. Well, with that, and unless anybody's got anything, I'm going to go ahead and let you go and sign off and get this processed and ready for upload. Thanks for your time and attention, and thanks for your hard work this week. Keep it up, and let's continue to march. Thank you.